Right, good afternoon, everybody. So we're live for New York session this afternoon. I'm just going to give it some time for others to join in, and then we'll sort of pick it up and run through analysis, and we'll then take it from there. If you are on YouTube stream, just please let me know in the comments if audio and that is all clear. If you can see the chart, and then we can kind of get to it. All right, perfect. Appreciate the confirmation there. Then I think we can kind of get to analysis for New York. This morning I dropped the analysis on EJ, of which is the only pair that really looked somewhat decent. The rest, I don't really know what's going on. It's been quite a slow week this week. It's just is what it is, I guess. There's not much we can do about it. But what I want to do is just having a look at gold. We'll start with gold for New York, and going to the daily. It's just, price is in one massive consolidation range over here. We do also have, I think we've got a fundamental for, their retail sales. So we have retail sales for the dollar this afternoon. But yeah, so that is obviously something that we need to keep in mind. But here on the daily, price is struggling, and kind of, touched on this. I've touched on this like, I don't know how many times this week, as well as last week. And just going to the weekly quickly, you can see we're trading at such a key area of support. And again, a lot of rejection to the downside, as well as, higher time frame, as well as lower time frame consolidation. And, is this where we see a potential higher time frame shift? Again, I've mentioned that a few times. So it's we just need to wait for price to get moving at the end of the day. And looking at the daily, you can see, again, it's pretty unclear. Yes, we're intra-week, intraday bearish, of course, as you can see there by market structure. But there's no real trend. We're almost consolidating downwards, right? A lot of, again, yesterday, not yesterday, the day before, with CPI, we had a lot of rejection, continued rejection of this level over here. So price is clearly struggling to hold below that area and continue to the downside. So at this point, in terms of potential sells would be extremely aggressive and low probability, because at the end of the day, we're trading into one massive rejection zone. So that doesn't quite make sense. In terms of potential buys, and with that higher time frame, bias and a potential higher time frame shift in mind, I think where I will personally start looking at buys is when price is able to get above this region here. I thought with the release of CPI on Tuesday that we could potentially see the daily candle of Tuesday close strong bullish for Wednesday to pull back, complete the retest, to then flip and continue to give us the start of that shift. However, that was not the case, and we continued rejecting this level, sitting within the same range. So I don't want to spend too much time here because, at the end of the day, it would be quite a waste. You can see here on the 4-hour, it becomes very, very clear in terms of that consolidation that we're experiencing, right? You could see over there, that is the consolidation range. So at the end of the day, in terms of what I could potentially see happening today from a buying perspective, I personally won't be looking for buys. The reason for that is because we're still trading within this consolidation, and like I said, based on the daily, I need price to get above this region before I'll consider buying, right? And that I highly doubt will take place today. Then in terms of sells, like I said, it would be very aggressive as well as low probability, but you can see that this level of support is holding firm and price is struggling to get below that region. So if we do get below that area after, with the consolidation that we're currently seeing, then we could in fact see price dip slightly lower into that region over there, and that would be the tradable range based on the 4-hour from an intraday perspective. But again, I would categorize that as lower probability given where we are on the daily time frame. So yeah, it's just one of those things, I'm afraid, and price has not been moving the greatest on gold for the past however many days. And it does not surprise me because, like I said, we're here at the weekly, right? On the weekly time frame, we're at a massive zone. So we can expect an extended period of consolidation before we do see a shift and the next market cycle come through in the form of either the continuation to the downside on the punch below, where we'll then see an extension of the bearish trend, or once we break above those areas within the daily, then we'll see the shift, and that's when we could see the bullish market cycle surface with bullish momentum coming about over the next couple of weeks. So again, it's just one of those periods that we need to sit through and we need to be patient with. Again, there's not much we can do about it. Unfortunately, we don't move the markets. All we can do is react to what price is doing. And at the moment, price is not doing much. So that's pretty much that with regards to gold. I don't really see any highly probable play today. So yeah, is what it is. Let's move over to pound dollar. I think pound dollar, I'm not too interested in either because we are extremely overextended. And with that overextension, I don't know what caused that, hard buying yesterday. It must have been something fundamental, but we're extremely overextended on the lower time frame. So here on the 4-hour, I don't know, I pushed the wrong button over there. Excuse me. Right, so just looking at the 4-hour quickly, you'll see how overextended we actually are. And the most recent structural break occurred over here, right? So naturally, that is the level in which I would like to see a retest of for price to then continue. And so effectively something along the lines of that over there. Now, a lot of you are sitting there and saying, okay, but hold on a minute. If price should retest this region, then surely we could start looking at potential sells. And yeah, I don't know if you enjoy taking losses, or low probability setups, but that would be trading against momentum, trading against the trend. And we all know that breaks the number one rule in trading. So that is insignificant movement. Although we could potentially see price retest this area, the only time I will consider a potential play is on the retest to look at continued buying or a push to the upside, continuation with overall momentum and trend, right? So what I'm getting at for today, I don't really see anything highly probable. And at this point, I kind of just need to wait on the retest to take place. And once that's happened, I will then start looking at a potential setup here on pound dollar. And the exact same goes for pound yen. We had very strong buying across the board on pound yesterday. And naturally so, this is the most recent structural break in terms of, the most recent key area that we do have. And again, although this needs to be retested in time, it does not necessarily have to be retested immediately. And we tend to see this time and time again when price is overextended and we've had such strong buying or such strong selling. Price doesn't always come back to the most recent structural break before we continue with momentum, right? So again, that is why it's categorized as a low probability setup in terms of looking at sells, because price doesn't have to pull all the way back to the most recent structural break, which means if you're looking at sells into this region, you got high hopes. But nonetheless, it could happen. And if it does happen, that's where I'll start looking at a potential play, is to buy back into equal highs. Okay, but I'm not going to try and trade against the trend. I'm not going to try and trade against momentum. So for now, I need to just let price do what it needs to do. I need to let price set up and complete the insignificant movement to give me the significant movement. Again, GJ, not much going on. Then we can go over to EJ. EJ is the, call it the setup that I was looking at today. If we go to the daily, this has been shared in the Telegram group, or the exclusive Telegram group. So now looking at the daily over here on EJ, you can see that we've got strong bullish momentum. Okay, we've had strong buying over the past 4 days. So with that being said, we've already identified a directional bias, and that directional bias is bullish. So there's only one kind of way we could look at potentially trading, and that would be buys, continuation to the upside. Then the next important point is price has managed to break a critical zone. So we break, we retest, and we continue, right? Where is our potential target? Potential target would sit at the next key area, and that there defines our tradable range on the daily time frame, right? Now it comes down to, we've had the break, we've got the momentum. Asia session pulled price back slightly to create a liquidity wick on the current daily candle. We're now going into New York session with volume. Does momentum continue? We've got the bullish flip, which is the confluence factor that we need to see. So do we spend, or do we see the move be completed during New York session today? Then it comes down to refining on the lower time frames. Now we'll go down to the 4 hour. Again, we can start refining our key area. We'll refine our key area to that level over there. And we now have a consolidation range that has occurred throughout today, right? That there. So this area here is my point of interest. That is the area in which I need to see price get above for me to start looking at potential buys or continuation to the upside. Now, the next thing is I've got to ask myself the following question. Looking at the time, it's 7 minutes to 2 o'clock, which means we've got an hour and 7 minutes before the 4 hour candle closes. Now, what is the likelihood? What is the probability of this current 4 hour candle extending all the way through this range of, call it 30 pips? What is the likelihood of this 4 hour candle pushing all the way through this range before it closes? The likelihood is the probability of that is quite low, especially given the fact that we've been in consolidation the entire day today, which then brings me to the point of we will more than likely have to wait on this 4 hour candle to close. If there's one or two scenarios here in terms of the closure of the current 4 hour. It either closes strong bullish above our key area, and if that is the case, then the new 4 hour will more than likely open, pull back, create a liquidity wick to the downside to then flip and continue with momentum. So then we'll drop down to the lower time frames to look at refining entry, which would then look at the 1 minute, 5 minute, 50 minute, 30 minute to look at scaling in on the the bullish flip. Or the 4 hour candle closes below this key area, and within the new 4 hour candle we then get the break and retest on the lower time frame to then continue with momentum. But in order for me to look at scaling in within the new 4-hour candle, if the 4-hour closes below this region, I would need to see the new 4-hour candle push down first to create a liquidity wick before we then look at before I look at the break to continue. So yeah, that's just in line with favorable higher time frame candle formation and what I like to see and what sits within my trading plan. So yeah, does that make sense? We've kind of covered all my majors and what I'm potentially looking at for today. Yeah, I think the only highly probable play that I see at this point is EJ. Apart from that, GJ, like I said, not interested. GU, I'm also not interested. And then gold, we're in consolidation. So it's pretty straightforward. I know it's quite, it's frustrating to sit through conditions like this and have weeks like this. But at the end of the day, this is part of trading and we cannot escape it. This is the market moves as it pleases, and we have no control over the movement. So if we don't get anything, we don't get anything. It's just a matter of being patient and knowing that tomorrow's another day, next week is another week, and at some point price will need to start trending again. Do you ever trade gold, or can the same thought process relate? Yeah, I trade gold. I primarily trade gold at the moment, given the movement versus, or in comparison to the other majors. So yeah, it is challenging, my patience is being tested, and again, it's quite frustrating, but I guess you just need to keep yourself busy. It's the only way to deal with it, really. Just gonna have a look at EJ here. So it looks as if, going into New York, we could potentially get the immediate break. Just drop down to lower time frames. So this hourly looks like it'll close very strong bullish. So have a look at the 30-minute. Yeah, so 30-minute is kind of insignificant at this point. Then have the 15-minute as well, insignificant series of bullish candles. We'll then have a look at the 5-minute. Not too interested in that either, to be fair. So again, looking at the hourly, even if this hourly candle closes very strong bullish engulf, for me personally, it doesn't confirm entry because, or I wouldn't base entry on that because the risk reward doesn't quite make sense. I don't know why these dogs are barking so much. So you see, that is a very unfavorable risk reward. So I would not execute based on that. If anything, again, looking at a potential, refined entry on the lower time frames on the immediate break. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to end this IG live, guys. Thanks for joining in. I'm still live on YouTube, but yeah, for now, that's it from my side. I will catch you in the next one. Please give me a second. I just want to go and see what these dogs are barking at. Right, sorry about that. Yeah, for those on the YouTube live, does that make sense? Um, am I leaning more towards a V1 for the potential play? New York. Um, yeah, to be fair, I'm not entirely sure because, again, within the next hour, do we see price, the current 4 hour extend all the way? Not only that, I mean, yeah, the cool, the hourly is favorable, but these are unfavorable, so that those are insignificant, really. Looking at the 15 minute, that's also a series of insignificant candles. We've got a 5 minute as well, insignificant, and then going to the 1 minute. I'm not too happy with that because although we've got a bullish engulf here on the 1 minute within the zone, we have not yet cracked above the premium high of 186. So that does raise a slight concern. Number one, number two, the 4 hour, like I said, it's just yeah. So for me personally, yeah, I I I don't know, like EJ, GJ, they've all just been playing up as of late, like some crazy movement. Just have a look at gold, yeah. My biggest fear is the Bank of Japan to intervene any day to save their week. Yeah, the thing is, um, at the end of the day, it's we have no control over fundamental and economic events. So you cannot be scared. It cannot prevent you from executing your plan. You can't be fearful of something happening because it might just never happen, and then you've like sat on the sidelines and you've foregone potential plays and high probability setups, because you haven't executed your plan. And at the end of the day, that's why risk management and capital preservation is so important, because random economic events do take place and price then all of a sudden can go against you. And again, that's just you protect yourself with risk management. So I can't view anything on Discord. Jaden, I'll have a look at that for you. I'll have a look. You should be able to, but I'll have a look at that for you. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna wrap the analysis up here, and I will then update the exclusive group. So yeah, just make sure that you're part of that, and I will then keep you all posted. But for now, I think I'm going to wait until 3 o'clock. We do have, again, like I said, retail sales that's coming out. So yeah, at 2:30. So yeah, for now, I'm going to kind of sit tight and let price move, and I will then reassess at 3 o'clock. But yeah, otherwise that's it from my side for now. Thank you for taking the time to join in. I hope that was somewhat valuable and insightful. And I will see you all again for tomorrow for another live stream. But yeah, just keep your eyes on the exclusive Telegram group because I will keep you posted there. All right, guys, have a lucky day, stay safe, and I will catch you on the next one.